Welcome to episode 31 of Podemup. We've got a grown-ups only game in the book club in the form of... Welcome to episode 31 of Podemup. We've got a grown-ups only game in the book club in the form of 360 PS3 gem Lollipop Chainsaw, so make sure the kids are tucked away for that bit. Before that though, we're talking PS3 and 4 preservation and the other games we've been playing lately. Keep it here on Podemup. Hello, welcome back to episode 31 of Podemup.
Hello.
My name is Ollie, and this man is Tibbs.
I am. Hello.
Hello. How you been doing?
Not too bad. Can't complain.
Good.
How are you?
Good. I am also well. Yeah. A bit of wrist pain this month,
really?
which has been quite bad for our sort of button mashing book club game, Lollipop Chainsaw, which we'll be talking about later. Yeah, it's just been a bit of a niggling issue, a bit of a gaming problem, but yeah, there you go.
Is this a recurrent issue, or is this something that's
this is new.
popped up?
This is new.
Dear.
It's just popped up out of nowhere. Yeah.
I got that with my left wrist a little while ago.
Right. This is the right one, so it's really annoying.
Yeah. Actually, it was after we did Katamari Damacy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Related or?
I think so.
Oh.
I think so, because I didn't have it before, and then I played some hours into that game, and then I had it afterwards. But I bought myself one of those little wrist sort of restraint things. You sort of put them on, and you leave them on overnight.
Yeah. I was looking at those. Yeah.
Yeah, I wore that for a bit, and that seemed to sort it out. But yeah, maybe I'm just getting old.
Probably, yeah. I swear, like every month there's something new going wrong. It's just the way it is. Yeah. Anyway, let's not go into that. Let's go into the games we have been playing. So, what have you been playing this month?
Been playing mostly Lollipop Chainsaw, gotta be honest.
Yeah.
I've been playing quite a bit for no particular reason. It's just sort of something I picked up again. Pac-Man Championship Edition. 2.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Just good bit of quality time with the man of Pac.
Yeah, I think I've got that on Steam. It might have been free at some point. I don't think I've ever actually played it.
Yeah, it's good. It's just a good solid game of Pac-Man. If you want to eat some ghosts, you want to eat some blobs.
Do they vary it? Do they sort of mix up the original formula, or is it?
Oh yeah,
kind of traditional?
No. It's much more mixed up. So there's different game modes. The main game mode is you get a 5-minute time limit, and there's ghosts that are all having a little nap around the maze. And if you get too close to them, they wake up and start following you. So as you go round, you end up with this big train of ghosts following you.
Right, cool.
You get your power pellet, and then you can eat them all at once. And Pac-Man sort of jumps out of the maze and eats them all. And it's nice, nice little game. But yeah, honestly, the majority of my time's been spent with Lollipop Chainsaw. Oh, I've been messing about doing custom firmware on my Switch.
Oh, okay.
So I've been playing Sonic 3 Air, the port of Sonic 3 Air for the Switch. It's really good.
Oh, brilliant. On the Switch, yeah, excellent. Okay.
Yeah, it's really nice. And there's the ports of the Christian Whitehead, Sonic 1 and 2
Yeah,
as
of course,
well.
yeah.
Yeah, they work as well quite nicely. So yeah, but that's the bulk of. I wish I had something more exciting to report this time, but it really is. I don't want to give away my thoughts on Lollipop Chainsaw too early, but yeah, I played through that several times. So,
Several times. Oh,
yeah,
really? Oh, wow.
yeah,
Oh, okay, cool. Brilliant. Well, I'll have a lot to talk about.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. By the way, the Sonic 3 Air thing is brilliant, isn't it?
Oh, it's really good. Yeah.
The amount of customizable options you've got in there is like, just change, like deciding which music plays of the Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles versions and that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's so good, and like restoring the original level order, and it's fantastic. It really is the definitive way to play Sonic 3.
So.
I think.
I think so. Yeah, because it's based on the ROM and everything, so it's all like the physics are all correct. I don't think it's been like rebuilt or anything. I don't know how they've done it.
I don't know how they've done it. No.
Voodoo magic. They've just like taken the ROM and I think was it from this or something else that they managed to apply whatever they did to make it widescreen to other Mega Drive games recently?
Yeah,
did you see this?
There's one of the emulators that have got like an experimental widescreen mode now. Yeah,
yeah. There's a core that you can get in RetroArch that applies it to. And sort of any Mega Drive game you get, I think not all of them work, but I think some of them do, like Gunstar Heroes, I think, and stuff like that. I think it's amazing, really, isn't it?
It's
I'm
fantastic.
baffled.
Yeah.
I'm baffled by how they do these things. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's mental, but it's so good. Because these are sort of things what are the chances of Sega themselves, putting down the center candles and getting on, putting some widescreen, old Genesis games out on widescreen? It's just not really going to happen, is it? So if it weren't for the community doing it, then we just wouldn't have these things. It reminds me there's that NES emulator as well, isn't there, that does the 3D.
The 3D thing. It's amazing, isn't it? That.
Yeah. There's so many good little programs out there. So always impressed.
Okay. Cool. Is that all from you then? Is it?
Yeah, that's all from me, I think.
Okay, cool. Well, I had a birthday this month, so I've had
I saw your birthday haul.
Games from sort of various family members and in-laws and things. Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, it's called, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's one of them. Yeah. Yeah, you've talked about that before, I think, haven't you?
It's good, yeah.
It's good. It's a good little racer. Did play it on normal mode to begin with and just couldn't get past the first couple of courses. It's just...
it's not very forgiving.
No. So I have no shame in admitting that I turned it down to easy mode. But that was too easy, in my opinion. I just sort of got through the whole thing very, very easily. I think the relic races were okay and some of the bosses were quite tough, but everything else was just kind of a bit too easy. Yeah. So, but I could probably go back to normal mode now and have enough experience with the game that I can probably do better at it this time, I expect.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very good game though.
Yeah, I was looking in like the arcade. Is it the sort of the more arcadey mode where you just select a course, and there's loads of other courses in there, isn't there?
Oh, yeah.
There's tons of them.
Yeah,
I think they've taken it from another game, have they, or something?
I haven't played it much since it first came out. I played it obsessively for a little while, and then my attention just got caught by other things. Yeah. But I know since then it's been receiving really fairly regular updates and new content, new tracks, and all sorts of things. They did sort of patch in microtransactions and stuff after release, which wasn't so good. But yeah, they have been, to their credit, they've been giving lots of new tracks and characters and costumes and all kinds of stuff. So.
Seems like there's loads in there now. Yeah. All right. I didn't realise it was DLC stuff or extra stuff. I thought it was just part of the thing, but okay, cool. Yeah. Another one I got was Little Town Hero, which is an RPG by Game Freak for the Switch. It's got music by Toby Fox for one thing.
I knew I'd heard of it somewhere. Yeah, that'll be yeah.
It looks a bit Pokemon-y. It's basically these characters are they live in this town, but they're not allowed to leave for some reason. Presumably you discover later on, but sort of monsters are starting to attack the town. But it's got a really interesting kind of battle system. It's turn-based, but it's a bit sort of board gamey. But I've been quite hooked on it actually. It's I say hooked. I've only done the first battle, but the first battle alone took me like 45 minutes to get through. But it's quite involving. So I've challenged myself with trying to explain it to you to prove to myself that I understand it.
Okay.
So basically, you've got is-its and does-its, right? And the is-it an is-it is like a move that you could potentially do. It's like in your repertoire, but you can't access it yet. And you can turn it into a does-it, which is a move you can do by applying like points to it. So you get certain points to spend on moves each turn. So you have to strategically pick which moves you think you're going to use. And the enemy has does-its as well, and he picks a does-it, and you see what it is. So you've got to sort of match it up. And each of the does-its have like a attack value and a defense value. So your attack takes down their defense, and their attack takes down your defense. And where was I going with this now? So
challenge failed.
Challenge failed. Yeah. So right, okay. So you've got yellow does-its and red does-its, right? Yellow does-its you can use multiple times until their defense runs out, but red does-its you can only use once. So I kind of don't get why they even have a defense value, but anyway. But you've got to save the red does-its because if you knock out all their does-its, they'll be stunned. And if you've got a red does-it handy, you can hit them, and that's how they lose a piece of health from their health bar. So the whole thing goes round over and over again until the first player loses all their health. So it took quite a while to get through, but it's really quite interesting because you kind of have to be really selective about what you choose based on the stats and that kind of thing. So, and there's a bit more to it than that. There's kind of like a top-down, almost board game kind of thing where you go around like these squares, and there's different characters at different squares, and they help you in certain ways, give you different moves and stuff. So it's really good actually, and it's really well explained. The tutorial mode like takes you through it really kind of clearly. It wasn't like something like Xenoblade Chronicles where it just kind of dumps everything. Yeah. It doesn't make sure that you've understood it really well, in my opinion. So yeah, I haven't played much of it yet, but just that battle alone has kind of drawn me into it quite well.
It sounds good. I gotta be honest, I'm not sure I really get the is-its and does-its and red does-its and yellow, well, whatever. But I think it might be one of those things where you play it and it starts to click.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah. Rather
than just selecting like, okay, I'm going to do a basic move or I'm going to do a fire move, that kind of thing. You've just got to be a bit more selective with which ones you pick and how it competes with their. It's like taking moves against each other rather than, okay, I'm going to take off their health bar with this move, etc. You've got to match the moves kind of accordingly, you know.
Yeah.
And to make sure that you've got a red one handy at the end without using it up.
I think a lot of RPG battle systems, if you tried to explain them, though, they would sound,
yeah.
like Final Fantasy VII, I got no problem playing that now. But if I were to explain to someone, well, you've got the blue command material, which can modify a magic material.
Exactly,
magic, they'd be like, what?
Yeah.
But yeah, it sounds really good. Yeah, is that a physical game? Is that a cartridge?
I actually got like a special edition
thing.
Nice. Because my wife asked me what games I want, and I kind of just put together a list of all sorts of stuff that I kind of seen. And this was kind of near the bottom of the list, to be honest. I was kind of like, yeah, that looks interesting. I might like to try it. I wasn't particularly after the special edition with loads of, like, it's got the CD soundtrack and art book and stuff.
Oh, cool.
But I thought I might as well put that on there just in case someone wants to get it. And my in-laws got it for me. I thought, oh, that's really cool. And I gave it a go. And yeah, it's actually pretty good.
Yeah, brilliant. I'm having a look now. I'm going to stick that on my Amazon wish list.
Yeah, just to look at a video and stuff. I mean, obviously the battle system is, if it's the kind of thing you can get really into, I think. And I've heard people say it is, as you go through the game, it is a good sort of system. I mean, I haven't played lots of different RPGs, so I don't know how similar it is to something else, but
yeah,
it seemed pretty unique to me.
I'm just having a look now on the Amazon store page. The screenshot they've chosen to represent the game is two soldiers speaking to a gentleman with his trousers on fire, and they're saying to him, "Your bottom's on fire." So if that sounds like something you want to get involved with, there you go. I've
seen that. That's
Yeah. Right. What pictures? Look, we need a screenshot for the store page. Right. Am I this one? Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, perfect, yeah.
Get it. No, that's really good. That looks awesome.
Yeah, it's got kind of sort of Pokemon-y kind of graphics and sort of similar kind of type of dialogue and stuff. And of course, Balan Wonderworld came out yesterday, which I got. I haven't looked at any reviews or anything. I'm sure people don't like it, but
There's been a lot of controversy about it.
The actual game itself.
Yeah, with the epilepsy thing.
Oh, I didn't hear anything about this. I haven't purposely kept away from looking at anything about it.
The final boss, there's some really severe strobe lights on they've done I think it's a day one patch, or
they have,
which sort of gets rid of it. But the unpatched version, there's sort of really sporadic sort of strobe lights in a frequency enough to trigger epileptic seizures.
Oh dear.
And it really got a lot of bad press. Well, understandably. I mean, you can't have games causing that.
No.
So they rushed out a patch to sort of fix that. But it wasn't a welcomed launch. I think once that came out, it turned a lot of opinion against the game, I think.
Okay. Oh well, I've only played 2 or 3 levels of it so far, but I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
There was a patch to just kind of make some slight improvements to what people said about the demo anyway. Like they've increased the speed of the character and stuff, so it moves a lot quicker now.
Did you get it on PC?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got the Steam version. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I did get around to playing the demo on Switch, and
it's not well optimized.
It's pretty ropey on Switch.
I don't know if they've improved it since then. Probably
I don't know.
Not, but
probably not.
No.
It's a bit ropey, but I mean, there seemed to be. I don't know why people are quite so against it.
No, I don't. I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
I mean, I don't think I didn't get the impression it was like a groundbreaking game or anything, but it's certainly not the worst thing I've ever played.
No, not at all. No, I'm not going to say it's like the best thing since sliced bread. I mean, there's, you could make comparisons to Mario Odyssey, and obviously that's a better game, but it doesn't. Just because it's not as good as that doesn't mean it's worthless. But
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, you'll hear. I'll play it a lot more next month, so you'll hear more from me about that.
Yeah, good.
A Little Town Hero next month. The only other thing I've been doing is playing around a little bit after our conversation last month about GoldenEye on the GoldenEye prototype thing on the 360. I downloaded the Xenia emulator and gave it a go.
Yeah,
it works. I only had a little play, but it works really well on that. And it's really sort of complete. It's almost like a full game.
I was going to say, it is almost. I think it's it's very, very near completion.
And the switching back and forth between the two, like the original version and the new models and everything, they've done a lot of sort of improvements to it. It looks great.
Yeah. It looks amazing. They did do a really good job of it, and they must have put a lot of time into it as well. It's not like a quick project over the weekend just as a proof of concept.
Oh no,
it's really a lot of work's gone into it.
Visually, it's been redone from the ground up by the look of it. Yeah. And then I tried lots of other sort of mostly Xbox Live arcade games on there, and they will work really well as well. You can actually just put a thumbstick into the 360 and take the game files of Xbox Live arcade games anyway, put it on there, and just load it up on Xenia like that. You don't even have to go into any dodgy sites or anything like that, which is
that's really good. Yeah.
It's great for like preservation of it and everything.
Absolutely, exactly. Which is something we're going to get onto in a minute. Yeah.
Yes, I thought we might. Yeah. Well, that's a good segue. So let's do that now then, shall we?
Yeah, let's.
News. So you've been, I saw on Twitter, you've been talking a lot with the Does It Play?
Yes, I've been actually helping them out. So full disclosure, I've been helping them out with a bit of testing regarding this. But so they have publicised, and I don't know if they necessarily uncovered it themselves. I think it's an issue that's been known in sort of the homebrew community for a while. But they're really drawn attention to it. What they've dubbed the C-bomb. Which is the CMOS time bomb, basically. So on your PlayStation, PS3, Vita, and PS4, there's a little PS Vita. Well, I will ignore PS Vita. Let's say PS3 and PS4 for now to keep things as simple as we can. Okay. There's a little battery on the motherboard which basically keeps time. So when you cut the power to the console, it just lets the internal clock carry on ticking, and so it knows what time it is. So obviously that battery is not going to last forever. Eventually it's either going to die, develop a fault, or it's just not going to be any good anymore. If that battery's dead or you take it out, when you boot the console again, every time you boot the console after a power off, it'll ask you to set the date and time. Then it connects to somewhere on the internet. Can't really be sure where because it's all encrypted, but let's assume it's PSN. It connects to PSN and syncs the time with a remote server. If it can't reach that server, all your digital games stop working. On the PS4, all your physical games and all your digital games stop working. Is how it's looking at the moment. Now, with the, like I say, I've been helping them test it. I've done it with my PS3. And I've, I haven't been able to replicate the issue, but I use custom firmware on my PS3 to run homebrew and things. So I don't know if that's a factor, but we have definitely got confirmation from, people on the Does It Play team and people who volunteered their time to test it, that it definitely happens on PS3s and PS4 as well, in fact. As far as all the testing that Does It Play have done, it's an issue that definitely exists. Now, a lot of other people are saying they haven't been able to replicate it, but our running theory at the moment is that they're just not signing into they're not signing into PSN. They've still got the internet connection, but they're not signing into PSN. So to replicate the issue, you must have no internet connection at all. You've got to make sure there's got no way of contacting the remote server to sync the time. Yeah. So the obvious, someone might be listening to this and think, well, so what? Just connect to the internet, job done. But from a preservation standpoint, PSN isn't going to be there forever. In sort of, 20, 30, 40 years down the line, you might want your kids or your grandkids to play the games that that you enjoyed. If that PlayStation server isn't online anymore, your PlayStation 4 isn't even going to boot physical games. It's not even a case of avoiding digital and just buying the physical games. It's a really serious issue, I think.
Yeah, obviously Sony maybe think, oh, okay, it won't be a problem because we'll just keep that little script running, somewhere, and maybe they will. But who's to say?
I can say maybe they will, maybe they won't.
You're relying on a company to do it, and they, frankly, don't seem to care really.
No.
Given the fact that they've just announced, which is related to this, that they're closing down the PS3 and PS Vita stores. Is that right?
They haven't announced it. It's still rumours at the moment.
Oh, okay.
But there have been some developments recently. A lot of people have been reporting that the web interface so when the PlayStation Store through the a web browser will no longer allow purchases of PS3 games or Vita games.
Yeah.
And apparently, like this afternoon or early this morning, people were having trouble getting into the store on the actual consoles as well. So something's going on. Sony haven't said anything about it yet, but something's happening. The key reason, I think, well, certainly, I don't know if it's a key reason in the general populace, but certainly for enthusiasts, I think the reason people buy physical over digital is for that preservations aspect.
Yes.
For the fact that it's always there for you to play. As long as you've got that disc, you can play it.
That disc going to work in console.
Exactly.
Should, in theory, be all you need, to play a game. But unfortunately, that's
But the idea that PlayStation 4 one day, unless something's done, unless either, the homebrew community comes up with something, or Sony patch out, this insane requirement, every PlayStation 4 is just going to be junk.
They couldn't they? Once the PS4, once the new generation kicks in and the PS4 isn't such a big deal for them anymore, they could easily just say, okay, we're just going to, release an update to take out that requirement. And then, obviously it's not perfect because you've still got to go and get that update. But once you do, at least then that will just sort of open up the, the console to be used.
Theoretically, it absolutely is possible.
Yeah.
But given that, the PS3 still needs that, we're 2 generations past that now,
Yeah.
and they haven't patched it
They
out on
haven't done that.
PS3.
Yeah.
And the PS Vita was, I don't know when it was officially, put into end of life, but I mean, unofficially, it's been dropped by Sony for years.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
And that's still got the same requirement. The difference with the Vita, obviously, it doesn't have a battery on the motherboard. It just uses the main battery inside. It doesn't have a separate clock battery.
Right, yeah.
But eventually, that battery isn't going to last forever. It's just, it just makes me a bit sad, really, to think that all these games and all because the PlayStation 4 has some really good exclusive games.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It's got games arguably historically relevant because it's the first home console with a PSV with a library of VR games.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of important stuff from a preservation standpoint there, and to just think that one day, for the sake of a check-in to find out what the time is, all this stuff, all the hardware is going to be useless. It's really bad. It's really bad. It could be that, everyone who's talking about this issue is wrong, and we've made a mistake somehow, we've tested it wrong somehow, we've done something wrong, and I hope that is the case. I hope we're wrong. But I think Sony really need to address it. I think they need to comment on it at least and say, well, look, no, sorry, you guys, you're completely wrong about this, or say, this does happen, but we'll fix it. Don't worry.
Yeah, I mean, it seems almost every month we're talking about one of the companies' lack of respect for preservation, and I think now we've done it with Microsoft and Nintendo, and now it's Sony's turn.
Yeah,
and it's just obviously there is a business to them, but they don't quite get that. To the people who play these games now, keeping a historical record of these things is really important. It's as important as keeping old cinema films and books and
precisely.
things. It's no different. And as the creators of all this, well, not the creators of the content necessarily, but the providing the means to play it, that they have a responsibility to make sure that their devices that they've created continue to be workable. I mean, it's a thing you hear a lot about these days with other devices and phones and things, and making things so that they can be repaired and continue to work. Not just like throw away this device to get the latest one, because it's it's bad for the environment among many other things. So it's not good, is it?
It's not good. It's not good. And the video game industry is in an advantageous position compared to other places, because they can already see that the mistakes that have been made, in other industries. The famous case of, the BBC erasing the old Doctor Who master tapes.
Yeah.
And there's huge chunks of, the history of Doctor Who completely missing, and now there's a desperate scramble to find any tape from like foreign TV stations or anywhere to try and piece together the fragments of these lost episodes, because they didn't think it was important enough to keep. Just tape over it. NASA lost the moon landing tapes.
Yeah.
Do you know? Do you know what I mean? You'd think that of anything, when they got back, you'd think, right, put a post-it note on it, just say like, don't tape over.
Do not tape over.
Yeah, take the record tab out of the back,
Yeah.
But so these things happen. But the video game industry can see these mistakes that have been made, and you would think they would be fighting tooth and nail to not make those same mistakes.
Yeah.
But
I think it's the way it's going, though, isn't it? Because you get all these streaming things now, and if you look at all the apps on phones, they're very kind of temporary, aren't they? There's no, it'd be very difficult to try and catalogue all of those games, for one thing, and then, we've got almost as many kind of, Steam games and all sorts of things. It's almost too much now, isn't it, for anyone to kind of keep hold of. And then from that you just say, well, why should we even bother then? Because you can't keep everything, so let's just stay with the current stuff. But I mean, you can't think like that, really.
Not really. I mean, even if let's say the rumours turn out to be true, and Sony are going to close the doors on the PS3 and Vita store in, I think the rumour is saying July or August. Let's say August. even with a concerted effort from, everyone who cares about preservation, can you imagine how many terabytes of data is on their servers? They couldn't possibly buy and download and back up it all in time for, so things are going to get lost, and it's just, wrong.
That's probably the reason mostly why they're doing it anyway, and if they don't do it now, they probably will at some point, just because it costs them money to store that stuff that they think no one's really buying anymore.
Yeah.
And the more new games and stuff that become available, because you think of how many games there are in the library of the PS4 now. That sort of indie games is so much more now than they were even on the PS3 generation.
Mm-hmm.
So many more developers, like little one-man bands, putting games out on the PS4 store, and it all adds up tremendous. And plus the size of games now, a AAA game, you're looking at 100 gigabytes or more,
what was that? The Call of Duty one a while ago. It's like, I can't remember what it was. Mental. The Call of Duty. It was for the PC.
Yeah.
But it was like, I'm gonna have to Google it. It was literally in the hundreds of gigs.
Yeah.
It could take up an entire hard drive.
Yeah, just for one game. It's mental, isn't it? Yeah.
It might have been Medal of Honor. I'm gonna have a quick look now. Download size, 340 gigabytes.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous, isn't it? It's just. I've got an old portable, not a hard drive, separate hard drive. And granted, it's from 15 years ago, but that's the entire space of that hard drive, isn't it? And you could just use. That's my Call of Duty game. It's just this massive hard drive thing. It's nuts, isn't it?
It's nuts.
Absolutely nuts. I read somewhere that part of the problem with these AAA games is they structure the data in such a way that it can be accessed an optimum place. So that means they'll often duplicate assets within the files and stuff, just so it can get that file quicker than it can seeking a different place on the hard drive. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Sometimes, I'm not a developer, but sometimes the decisions baffle me, because I remember back in the day when Max Payne 3 came out, there was a lot of discussion about why the PC download was so big, because the game came out on PS3, PS4, PS3, Xbox 360, and obviously fit on a single Blu-ray disc for the PlayStation 3, but the PC version was something like 30 gigabytes or something. And when people dug into it, when they went data mining into it, all the audio tracks in the game were stored completely uncompressed. It was all uncompressed audio. It's like, well, what's the point?
What is the point in that? Yeah. And you think back to the old, 8-bit, 16-bit days. They really had to crunch things down as much as they possibly could just to get just to fit it all on a tiny cartridge. And now you think you've got so much space, they just don't even care anymore. They'll just happily put out uncompressed files in weird places and duplicated files and stuff.
I love the hardware that we've got now, and the things it's capable of course. But I can't help but have admiration for, when they had developers had more restrictive hardware, the kind of inventive little tricks and things they'd come up with to squeeze that extra little bit of performance out of the game, or do some new graphical trick.
Oh god, yeah. Yeah, they had to work wonders to do the things that they did back in those days. I was looking at this. Have you seen this Pico 8?
Oh yeah.
I think it's called. It's almost like a little operating system, but it's purposefully restricted. So it's like a tiny. I don't know what the dimensions of the pixels are, but they're small hundreds wide and high, and it's purposefully restrictive so that it doesn't. You have to be really careful about how you program things, otherwise it just won't run very well. And you get people making stuff for that's quite amazing, and it's just obviously they've had to work really hard to just kind of condense that down, and that's the whole point of it, to purposefully get you in the mindset of making a Game Boy game.
I think wasn't Celeste the game Celeste that?
Yes, the original Celeste
there, and then they went back and made a sequel, a Celeste 2 on Pico 8. They did a classic version of a new sequel type thing to it. Yeah, it's a really nice idea.
Yeah, so we wandered a little bit away from that original thing there, but it's. I hope something can be sorted out with the PS.
Well, yeah. I mean, I hope so. I mean, the thing is, if Sony don't address it and they don't do anything about it, the only solution in the long term, is going to be, people coming up with custom firmware and stuff for it. And I don't, Sony definitely don't want that happening. So I don't know. I just think, and I think Sony must care at some level about things like this because they released a physical version of the PS5 with the physical disc drive, and I know from a business standpoint, physical games still massively outsell digital games, but
yeah, they could make the decision to just go digital.
I mean they tried it before with the PSP Go, so it's not the first time they've dabbled with it. But I don't know. I
don't suppose there's any knowledge about what the PS5 is going to do about all this. Has it got the same problem?
I don't know. The thing is, I don't think there's enough PS5s out there for anyone to test yet.
No, that's the problem, yeah. But, I mean, is the whole PS4 library playable on PS5? Or is it just some titles?
The majority of it is. The some titles, apparently PT, the ever-famous PT, which was removed from all the PlayStation Store. Konami took it down. Yeah. Apparently that technically is backwards compatible, but it's been blacklisted because Konami don't want it on there. So it can run, but it will artificially refuse to run.
If you were somehow able to get it on there.
But I think it's a very high number. It's something like 98% of the library is compatible. Yeah.
I mean, so if they could somehow make sure that the PS5 was future-proof, then that would solve a lot of the
It would go some way to in
theory.
It would go some way to mitigate.
Means you've got to go and get a PS5.
Yeah, you'd still have to get a PS5, and I mean it's better than nothing. It would be better than nothing. But given that they've, going back to the PS3, I mean even the PS2 had a battery on there to keep the clock time. Obviously, they didn't have the internet download issues then, but I mean, this is something they've relied on since the PS2. I'd be very surprised if the PS5 didn't follow suit. But I think it'd be a while before either of us get our hands on one. So just have to guess on that one. I think.
Unless I win a competition that I entered the other day, you never know.
Got to be in it to win it.
I don't think I've ever won a competition. Have you? I can't think of a single competition I've ever won.
No, I won a watch on a scratch card once. Like ages ago, you used to get those scratch cards in like comics and magazines and things, and they'd always promise these big prizes, and you'd never ever win on any of them. I actually won once, and it said, you had to phone a number, and it said you have won a watch, and I sent off because I was very young. I think I was only like 7. So my mum sent off for it for me, and she had to send like £5 for postage and things. Never got the watch.
Oh, what?
Yeah, never got
it. Ridiculous. Oh. Yeah.
But other than that, no. Oh, actually, I did win went into Forbidden Planet, right? And they had a competition to win. They had it was like stuff from the store. Ended up winning a life-size pony. I sold it. Yeah. I sold it to someone in work.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to win it. And what am I going to do? What am I going to do with it? I was hoping
a life-size like pony, not a real one.
Like a My Little Pony.
Oh right, okay. Okay, so a massive My Little Pony.
Oh yeah, I mean it was like up to a grown man's shoulders almost.
My life-size pony, yeah.
Yeah, precisely. I was hoping I could win something, from the collector's cabinet. Like you get like nice like.
Oh yeah, all those lovely.
Like a portal, one of those portal guns. Yeah.
Yeah,
something nice. But obviously you can pick. It was like luck of the draw raffle. So they kept emailing me saying, "When are you going to come pick up this pony?"
We want to get it's taking up so much room here. You got to take it.
Yeah. It was literally like in the middle of the store. So I don't want it. I gotta be honest. So eventually I sold it to someone in work. They said they were going to buy it for their daughter.
Yeah.
I think they gave me £20 for it. Well, I'll take it.
That's better than nothing. Isn't it? You didn't pay anything.
So they went down, they collected it, and I found out a week later that they'd got drunk, sat on it, broke his head off. Yeah. So.
Oh, well, that's a brilliant story.
Yeah. True story, that as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't really count that as a win, really.
No, not
A,
really. No,
I didn't want it, and B, I never actually took ownership of it, so don't think that counts. But yeah, there you go. Good luck with the PS5.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think that's
it, isn't it? Yeah, we've wasted enough of these people's time. Let's crack on with Lollipop Chainsaw, shall we?
Yeah.
Let's do it after the break.
Sweeter than candy on a stick, huckleberry cherry or if you had a choice, be your pick, but lollipop is mine. Lollipop, lollipop, oh lolly, 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 lollipop, lollipop, oh lolly, 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 lollipop, lollipop, oh lolly, 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 lollipop.
The video game
Boom, 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 boom.
Book Club.
Boom, boom, boom. Lollipop, lollipop, oh lolly, 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 lollipop, lollipop, oh lolly, 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 lollipop, lollipop, oh lolly, 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 lollipop.
Welcome back. This month we're talking Lollipop Chainsaw, and I should say this is quite a departure from our usual fairly family-friendly games.
Yeah, not one for the
cover.
whippersnappers, this one.
No, perhaps we should put out a warning.
Yeah.
We're probably not going to swear and stuff, but, some mature content coming your way. So if you've got the little kiddies running around, might want to, pause the podcast and play it later.
Bit of cotton wool in the ears.
Yeah. So Lollipop Chainsaw is a game for the Xbox 360 and PS3. It was released in June 2012. Developed by Grasshopper Manufacture, published by Warner Brothers over here, and someone else in Japan, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot what I didn't. For some reason, I didn't write it down, but I knew it
I've
was
actually
someone else.
I got the Japanese version over there somewhere.
Oh, have you? Oh,
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Yes, this was £8 when I bought it a month ago in CEX, but now it's gone up to £12. So I can only assume it's the popularity of this podcast is.
I was going to say that means that you and Rick have both bought it.
Yeah.
And it's flagged up on some algorithm at CEX saying, "Oh, this is in demand. Crank that price up."
Yeah.
So
That's it. Yeah.
there you go.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I thought it was just the legions of fans just all like joining in on the book club. Just like, oh, this is going.
Yeah, that's what I said. You and Rick.
Yeah, exactly. The legions. Yeah. One of which is one of the co-hosts. Yeah. So this is a 3D hack and slash, I would say, with lots of blood, crude, tongue-in-cheek humour, and adult language.
Yes.
You play as zombie hunting cheerleader Juliet Starling as she defends the world against a zombie outbreak that has emerged from a portal to an evil realm known as the Rotten World, opened by a goth named Swan, who also summons 5 intelligent zombie bosses called the Dark Purveyors. Joining Juliet is the decapitated but still living head of her boyfriend Nick, which she removes in order to save his humanity from zombie infection. Using a highly customized chainsaw, Juliet slashes her way through hordes of zombies across 6 large linear stages, meeting her other zombie hunting family members and tackling the 5 Dark Purveyors bosses along the way. So there you go, that's your summary.
That's a good summary.
Yeah, thanks. Wrote it myself. So what made you pick this?
I just really like it.
Yeah, it's a good game, isn't it?
I just really like it. I got it when it came out.
Yeah.
And it's one of those games it really surprised me how it didn't really take off the way I thought it was.
I've never heard of it until very recently.
Yeah, it's really surprising to me.
Yeah.
I know it's a very puerile game.
It is. I mean, the cover is it's just her, but she's got her skimpy kind of cheerleader outfit on. She's sucking a lollipop. She's got a chainsaw. It looks like a very kind of lowest common denominator kind of game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It reminds me of that PS2 BMX game, BMX XXX,
Yes.
which supposedly just shoved a little sex appeal into a BMX game, didn't it? I never played it, but I've read that it didn't go well because of that, and the cover is kind of similar, and it kind of reminded me of that when I saw it,
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
So maybe it kind of rubbed people up the wrong way. I think.
I can easily see how the game would put people off. I think it's one of those games where if it clicks with you, if the sense of humour that the game's got sort of gels with you, you'll have a great time with it. But if you have a very low tolerance for vulgarity and puerile humour,
it's not the game for you.
It's not the game for you.
No. Yeah.
But I just remember I had such a great time with it when it came out. I really enjoyed it, and it just, like I say, over the years, it just seems to have been forgotten about. All the other, the other games from Grasshopper Manufacture, Killer 7 and No More Heroes.
Yeah.
They've had sequels and spiritual sequels and, remakes, remasters, you name it. Lollipop Chainsaw just seems to have been completely forgotten about, and I think it's a shame.
I mean, it's sort of very self-aware, isn't it? It kind of it looks, as I say, it looks kind of lowest common denominator, but it uses that, and it's very tongue-in-cheek with it. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it really, but it's better than it looks. It's
much better than it looks, and it doesn't take itself seriously at all.
No, not at all. No,
not at all.
It's got a crazy kind of storyline. Got some really, really good voice acting and it's kind of scripts behind it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And some of the characters in the game are fantastic.
Yeah,
but like you say, it just doesn't. Like you say, very aware of itself. There's an achievement you can get if you attempt to look up her skirt. As an example.
Exactly. Yeah. It looks great, doesn't it? It's got a lovely sort of colourful kind of comic book style. It's got sort of semi-cell shaded kind of shading to the characters. It looks really good. She's a cheerleader. Zombies attack. She's actually a part of a zombie hunting family. And then she goes to meet her boyfriend Nick, who comes under attack from the zombies. In order to save him, she's got to cut his head off.
Yeah.
As you would. I mean,
what else
of course, then Nick's head is kind of just dangling off of her belt the entire game, and he's like talking to you. And their conversations are really good, aren't they? I thought.
Yeah, they are. They're really.
They're really entertaining. Like a lot of the time, when you could play a game and the dialogue isn't great, you've got two characters talking to each other, it gets annoying. But this, I thought it was really well done.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. And there's some of the humour, I don't know if understated is the right word, but some of the bits that made me laugh the most were just like little moments. Like there's the school level, which is like the first level. There's a bit where you can come across, and throughout the game, you come across zombies with no heads. Yeah. And you can put Nick's head onto the zombie and temporarily control him to, break an obstacle or something.
Yeah, it's got like a QTE kind of sequence, isn't it? You've got to match up the buttons and she kind of cheerleads on and he does his thing. Yeah.
And the first time you come across one, she says, can you give me a hand, Nick? And he's like, well, I don't have a hand. And she says, well, I could just put your head on this zombie. And he goes, huh? And she goes, using the magic powers, you can control the zombie and I'll get you over here. And his response is just, what?
Yeah.
And that's it. You'd expect some... I don't know. It just makes me laugh. It's in the delivery.
It is. That's what I was trying to sort of note down, like funny quotes and stuff. And they are funny, but it is just the way that when you write them down, they're not as funny. It's just it's purely the way they deliver them. Because the thing about those two characters is she's really upbeat and positive, and given that he's had his body chopped off, he's very pessimistic about. The whole situation. Yeah. So you constantly get this dynamic where she's really cheerful and happy, and he's like, especially in the last stage.
I was going to say, there's a stage where he just gets really morbidly depressed.
Yeah, because he just thinks, what's the point anymore? And it is just quite funny, really.
It's funny. It's funny.
There's a quote. The only quote I wrote down, and it comes right at the beginning of the game. It's Juliet, where she's talking about her family and stuff, like as a narrator, and she's of her mother. She says, "It's because of her that my sisters and I all wear our vaginas proudly."
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
What does it mean? I don't know. It's I love it. It's so funny.
I must say, I didn't get around to finishing this game, partly
Okay.
because of my wrist pain,
Yeah.
which I'm hoping is going to get better soon. But I got near. I think I'm on the last big level. I think I'm in the cathedral basically. I think there's only
Oh
one
yeah,
little
yeah.
bit
You're
up
right at the end.
there. Yeah. So I've not got much further to go. But I think you get like 5 big stages, or like a little sort of semi-tutorial one at the beginning. And they're quite long, aren't they? They take a good sort of 45 minutes to get
Oh yeah,
through.
yeah. Some of them can take quite a while to get through. Yeah.
Yeah. There's an auto-saving thing, luckily.
Hmm.
But what I would say is that, do you ever have this thing where you play a new game and you're not quite sure about the saving system, so you're not quite sure when it saved last? So you say, okay, I'll quit. I'm pretty sure it's saved, but then I go back in just to make sure that it's saved where I think it's saved. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just to there's no surprise the next time you play it. If you do that, if you exit, it takes you back to like the map screen where you select a level. I selected the same level and it puts me right back to the start, which is really annoying. I had to play the second level pretty much twice for that reason.
Oh, I didn't know that.
What you have to do is you have to go back to the main menu, do game start, and then it says, do you want to resume your checkpoint? So it's a little something I wanted to flag up there because it was really annoying when it happened.
Yeah, that's worth knowing. I've not come across that, but yeah, that's
for some
that's
reason
annoying.
it was a little. They just assumed that no one would ever just exit and then go back to the stage
Yeah.
immediately after.
Oh, that's a bit annoying. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit annoying, but to be honest, it wasn't that bad because the game is so fun that I just didn't mind that much actually. But yeah, let's talk about like the gameplay. So it's basically hack and slash, but there's a lot of variety to it. The more you play it, and the more you unlock, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. It's quite. There's all sorts of different combos and things you can unlock that they actually do make a significant impact on how easy or hard you're going to find the game.
Yeah.
Picking the right combos to use, it can be really important. It's quite flexible, the combat system as well, isn't it? It's not just you're not just hitting the one button all the time. You are going to be switching up between sort of heavy attacks and light attacks, and she can waggle her pom poms about to stun the
Sort of
zombies.
stun them.
And,
Yeah.
so there's a fair bit of strategy now. I don't think it's not a game where you can just mindlessly hit the button and expect to win.
No. They're all in a shop, aren't they? That's how the upgrades work for the moves and stuff. Every once in a while, you get this little shop thing that you go up to. You can buy new moves, you can buy new costumes, soundtracks, all sorts of things. And then later on, you get the zombie blaster, which completely shifts the game into like a sort of over-the-shoulder shooting game. And then there are segments where you kind of need to use it, but pretty much throughout the rest of the game, you can switch whenever you want between the hack and slash and it being a shooter, which I thought was really cool. Because sometimes, certain situations, you think, okay, I'm having a bit of a struggle with this. I might switch to the zombie blaster, and you get on a little bit better with it.
Yeah, you do, especially against some of the big heavy enemies later on. It can really, really save your bacon, I think. Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool, just to have almost a whole other genre in there as an extra weapon, and it works pretty well. There's also the chainsaw dash, which is kind of like you're running continuously forward and you've got to move around and go over these ramps and stuff. That's another thing. As you said, you put the Nick's head on the zombie. There's other sort of quick time event things where she goes around the pole dance thing.
Yes.
Got to jump on the heads sometimes. There's like a little QT where you got to jump over the heads.
Yeah, so of course she was taught the pole dance as part of her training by Morikara Sensei.
Yes.
Who we haven't talked about yet.
Yeah. Her mentor guy who you've met in the first level. Yeah, he's a bit of a pervert though, really, isn't he?
Yes,
everyone's got a bio that comes up when you first meet them, and it goes away quite quickly, and you can't quite read all the details. But his was something about liking girls' underwear or something, wasn't it? Did you see that? Yeah.
Yes. That comes back again towards the end of the game.
Oh, does it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course you got the combine harvester thing that you mentioned last.
Oh,
episode,
I love that bit.
Yeah,
I love that. It's just so funny. It's just great. I really love we've talked about the bulk of the gameplay is like the hack and slash bit, But there's so many inventive little bits throughout the game
Yeah.
like that. Like you'll get the bit where you're mowing down zombies with a combine harvester to you spin me right round like a record.
Yeah.
But some of the I think the thing that made me pick it as a choice for this for the show was the bosses. Particularly the first boss, I thought was really inventive. The fact that he's this punk rock zombie, and he screams slightly bizarre, vulgar insults at you.
Yes.
One of the insults he keeps coming out with is vanilla slut. It's like, I've never heard anyone called a vanilla slut before. I'm not even sure what that is.
Yeah.
But when he screams at you, they actually come at you as giant red letters.
That's cool, yes.
And you have to, like, chainsaw through the letters or avoid them to get to
the letters
him.
are like the projectiles themselves. Yeah.
Yeah. And, he summons giant columns of speakers from the
That's
sky,
right, yeah.
and you have to... And it's really, what could have been just a standard, chainsaw the zombie till he dies, becomes this really quirky boss battle. It's just really... I don't know, I just thought it was really inventive.
Yeah, there's many inventive points. My favourite level is like the arcade one.
Yes, yeah.
And we've got to talk about this because there are several segments where it mimics sort of classic arcade games.
Yeah.
So there's a Pac-Man bit where you kind of the camera shifts to sort of more of a top-down thing, and you're in this maze and these massive Pac-Man kind of. You almost got like the character kind of goes into an arcade machine, don't they?
Yeah.
There's like these ghosts wandering around. And then you've got I've never played it. Is it elevator action?
Elevator action.
Yeah, I thought so. Basically that. So you've got like this side, it's more of a side-scrolling view, and you've got to go in and out of the doors and up the elevators and stuff. And then Pong as well. You're basically on a massive Pong table with the ball bouncing. You've got to avoid the ball while attacking zombies at the same time. It's a massive ball coming back and forth all the time. That's great, isn't it?
It's great.
It's really, really good.
It's just so inventive, and it's so... Yeah, it's just really great. And I think... I think it's the boss of that level who's one of my favourites. Is it?
Yeah.
Is that the one where he looks like the Spirit of Jazz from Mighty Boosh? He's got like a skeleton.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Oh, it's so funny.
Yeah. And he goes in like a UFO, doesn't he? And he blasts
Yeah.
off, and then you got to like take out the UFO. Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it?
I just find that boss fight so funny at the end. I think it's just the sounds he was making.
Yeah.
It was like screaming,
Oh.
all auto-tuned.
Yeah, his whole voice. That's the funny thing. That's what because he phones you in the level, I think.
Yeah.
And he speaks in auto-tune, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's so funny. I know it's.
Yeah. There's another mini game in there. It's like the kind of a wall climbing thing. I couldn't recognise what, if any, what game that was supposed to be. Do you know what that was?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
I think that
know
maybe
what
that
you
was an
mean,
original
though.
one. You're kind of going up this skyscraper thing in a block, and you've got to. It's kind of just dodging the obstacles and moving your way up. It's quite difficult. I died a lot of times on that one.
Yeah, it's quite tricky because there's zombies like dropping things as well in there, and
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know what game that's based on actually.
No.
It might be original for the game, but yeah, it's quite tricky that.
I'm trying to think of anything else to say. I mean, the music there's a lot of licensed kind of tunes, isn't there? It's
Yeah.
mostly sort of heavy kind of rock stuff. But I was just saying that they occasionally just throw in this sort of 80s tune, don't they? And, like this, also quite a lot of it's quite well known stuff,
Yeah, the arcade level. I think they play Pac-Man Fever.
They do, yeah.
There's obviously Dead or Alive. You spin me right round.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that they've done Tony Basil's Mickey.
Yeah.
As whenever you do your special attack, it plays, Mickey. It's just there's just a juxtaposition of such a cheesy bubblegum pop song amidst all this carnage. It never stops being funny. I love it.
That song's been in my head all month. That has.
I know. I was going to say you took over. You brought us back in from the break on this episode. If you were going to ask me to do it, I was going to open it by going, "Oh, Ollie, you're so fine. You're so funny, clever, my day, Ollie." But I don't. You took it, and I thought, "Oh, it's too late to say it now."
Oh no, you could have said it. Well, you could have.
Well, it's out there now.
It's out there now. Yeah. It's there.
But yeah, that was the plan. But yeah, it does. It gets stuck in your head for days, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. I noticed it didn't get very well reviewed at the time for
No.
some bizarre reason. I was looking on Wikipedia. It was very sort of average, kind of 5s, 6s, and 7s.
Yeah, it was very lukewarm reception, I think.
I don't get why, because it's a great game, isn't it? Maybe it's just wrong place, wrong time.
Maybe. I don't know. I think a lot of people. I don't know. I think, again, the puerile aspect of it, and I think the vulgarity and the overt sexualization of Juliet, I think probably rubs a lot of people the wrong way.
It does, yeah. But the thing is, you play it and you see that it isn't really about that, is it?
No,
it's
not at all.
It's totally. It's a joke on that. It's almost a parody of that kind of game in a way, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's just, it's just everything dialed up to 11 on the characters and the stereotypes and the cliches, and it's just everything.
Yeah. And it's a shame reviewers didn't seem to get that, or if they did, I mean, IGN, for example, gave it 5 out of 10 and called the gameplay bland, slow, and unsatisfying. I mean, what the hell game were they playing?
I was going to say, what were they playing?
That does not describe this game at all.
No.
Others called it repetitive. I mean, you can say that about any kind of game of this genre. That's kind of the genre, if you boil it down to literally what you are doing.
Yeah.
But it's not really about that. You could say that about Streets of Rage. I mean, when we were talking about Streets of Rage 4, I said in theory it should be really repetitive and boring, but it isn't. And the same is true of this,
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Repetitive is such an unfair thing to say about it as well, because every boss is completely different. It needs completely different strategies and ways to beat the bosses. Every level has some kind of quirky little side mission thing to do in it, like the combine harvester bit. There's zombie basketball in the first the first level where you've got to chop off the zombie's heads and knock it into a basketball net. There's all these little things throughout the level that just breaks up
loads of little like set pieces and things. And it's not literally just monotonous walking around killing zombies all the time.
It's definitely not.
That's literally just the stuff you do between the important bits, which happen very regularly. So
so I think calling it repetitive is, I'm not sure that's a fair criticism. Really. No. It's okay to say the game just didn't click with me, because it won't click with everyone, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you can't call it repetitive.
No, certainly can't call it dull. It's anything but. It is not dull game.
It's not dull at all. No, I mean, I think it's going to join the ranks of games we've covered on Podemup that we wish had sequels, but unlikely we'll ever get a sequel.
Yeah, and probably won't even get a re-release either. I mean,
doubt it.
The wealth of licensed tracks will make it certainly very difficult to get a fully, as it was, re-release anyway.
I think so, and I think just general attitudes have changed since release, and I think it would struggle to find an audience these days, I think.
Yeah.
But
it's one of I think we kind of said this about the last 360 PS3 game we looked at, which was Driver San Francisco. It's kind of those games you don't really get anymore to that degree of to those production values anymore, do you?
No,
because they are part of the sort of the noughties kind of generation. This was just after, where it wasn't just AAA open world stuff and the indies doing really kind of wacky, crazy stuff or retro themed stuff. This was in a layer between those things where it's like quite fairly big companies, big developers making not massive open world games that take hours and hours and hours to play, just like these good kind of games, more traditional kind of games, but to these kind of production values. You don't really get that anymore, do you?
Not really, no.
Not like this,
No, not like this.
And I mean, it's kind of, as we said, the whole style of this is quite, risky in a way. It's not like a safe thing. It's like it's a kind of a joke, really. It's a joke. It's kind of like it's almost a parody game.
Yeah.
And that would be a risky thing to do now, to get your money back on it and to put all that investment in it. So,
but I think I remember reading somewhere as well that I hope I read this somewhere and I'm not just making it up, but it was the best-selling Grasshopper manufacturer game.
Yeah, I think I read that too.
So why does everyone talk about No More Heroes and Killer 7 and all these other ones? But this one just gets completely forgotten. It baffles me. It really does.
Yeah,
It's a
is
shame.
weird, isn't it? Yeah. I think nowadays this kind of thing is sort of frowned upon.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and as I said, just to look at the cover, it looks like a very out of date kind of game. You don't get games looking like this now and being taken seriously.
No, and
So-
some of the unlockable costumes are very fan servicey. You can't see them all until you finish the game.
Right.
And then you unlock a whole bunch of extra costumes. You still have to get the silver medals to get them. But yeah, some of them are very fan service. Not practical zombie hunting
Sure.
attire, I would argue.
Sure, yeah. I will say I managed to play this entire game without my wife walking in at any point, which I'm very relieved about. It's okay,
Yes.
she doesn't listen to the show, so she'll never know. It's fine.
Yeah, she'd have. I think. Yeah,
You got
might
some
have
explaining to
explaining
No, it's a parody. It's fine. It's not real like porn or anything.
It's art.
It's art.
Don't understand.
Yeah, and also I didn't pick it. Tibbs did, so take it out with him.
I'll happily take the blame for that. It's a good game, and if at least one person more plays it as a result of the podcast, I'll be happy with that.
I would hope so. I'm sure
yeah.
it'll be someone's cup of tea. In
Yeah.
one way or another, either for the gameplay wise or
We're not here
whatever
to
else.
judge.
No, we don't judge. We don't judge. Rick left us a lovely long comment.
Yeah,
on it. Did you have anything else to say about the game before we get to that?
Not really. I was gonna briefly mention when we were talking about the gameplay. I was gonna mention the Nick tickets.
Oh yeah, the Nick tickets,
Which I thought was just a bit bizarre, but you can collect these tickets to use Nick's head as, an offensive weapon. You can spin it. You can spin it around and daze all the zombies. And there's a particularly odd one where she will shake it like a piggy bank, shake his head, and all coins will fall out of his neck. Not sure what the mechanics of that are, but
They just clearly thought, okay, we got this Nick idea. What can we do with Nick's head that's like funny and useful?
yeah. You activate it by clicking in the left thumbstick, don't you?
Yeah.
Did you have the same problem as me activating it by accident quite a lot?
I don't think I did. No, I had to struggle to find it because I kept saying, "What's all this Nick ticket business going on about?" And I tried all the buttons, and eventually I got to that. I don't think I ever accidentally pressed it.
Oh, I do it all the time. Maybe I'm just heavy-handed when I.
Do you
when I
often
get
do
into
that
it.
in other games, like accidentally click it when you don't mean to?
No, generally not. But maybe it is quite an intense sort of hack and slashy
Yeah,
game. Maybe I'm
if
just
you-
getting a bit too into it and
Possibly,
gripping
yeah.
the controller a bit tight. I don't know, but
Yeah.
No, the other. I'm going off topic now, but pressing buttons when I didn't mean to. Street Fighter 5 on PS4. Whenever I try and do a Hadouken, I always hit the PlayStation button. It takes me back to the menu. I've done it twice in online matches, and it does my head in.
Yeah. Do you know what? I can pull off a Hadouken like no more than 50% of the time. That's generous. Actually, probably 30 or 40% of the time. I'm rubbish at Street Fighter.
Oh,
I know what I've got to do. I just can't. I usually can't pull it off. Yeah.
Yeah. But read Rick's comment. Let's see what he's got to say.
So it kind of echoes our comments, really. I had an absolute blast with this game. So glad you guys are covering it because it made me play it, so thanks for that. The story is crazy from beginning to end, and I loved it. There's a great script, and the voice cast could do a fantastic job. I really enjoyed the dialogue between Juliet and Nick. A lot of it had me laughing out loud. The soundtrack is incredible, both the licensed tracks and original compositions. You can be chopping up zombies to Children of Bodom. Is it Bodom?
I thought it was bottom, but
Bodom,
Bodom.
or Arch Enemy 1 minute, then you'll use your special power and Hey Mickey will start playing. The original music in the Viking level and last level particularly stood out to me as well. I'll certainly be listening to the soundtrack again. I've been trying to get the soundtrack and sort of did a little bit downloady, but it's not like the full thing. It's just only a few select tracks. I've been trying to find the full thing so I can, mostly just so I can select for the music for the show. But it's the gameplay is what you expect from a hack and slash with the odd different section thrown in, and the arcade level had some interesting minigame bits. Last point I'll make is you definitely should not play this in front of your wife or children.
Definitely not.
I second that. Yeah.
It really is not a game for
Oh,
for the youngins.
No, yeah, I think it's an 18 game, isn't it?
It's got to be an 18
must be
plus
if it
adults
isn't.
only. Yeah.
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 Yeah. So yeah, but we urge you to try it because it's a really good game. Yeah.
Yeah.
As I say, it's not too expensive now. The price has recently been hiked up thanks to me and Rick, but it's only 12 quid. It's not, you could do far worse with your 12 quid, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you got to pick it up. Pick it up before the price does go up. So
yeah, probably will because there probably aren't that many of them hanging around. Maybe. I don't know.
I wouldn't have thought so. And well, then again, if it was the best-selling Grasshopper game, I don't know. So
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how well the rest of them sold, but
I don't know. He's a
but then again,
mysterious times.
I obviously had a 360 at that time, and it passed me by completely. I never heard of it.
Yeah. But recommended. I give it a thumbs up. You give it a thumbs up.
Absolutely, yeah.
Brilliant. So what's next on the menu?
Okay, so I was going to give you a choice between two different arcade games,
Okay.
but I've changed my mind
Oh.
because I've been playing another game from my birthday list that
I think I know where this is
I
going.
know you want to cover, and having played through the whole thing, I want to talk about it. It's the Sayonara Wild Hearts.
Beautiful.
Yeah, this is just unbelievable. It's a very short game, but it marries what you hear and what you're playing so beautifully. It's like nothing else, really.
Yeah. Excellent choice. Yeah, I look forward to that.
Yeah. So it looks like a sort of very modern kind of experimental indie game with like silhouettes and dancing and stuff, which traditionally isn't what I'd particularly be interested in. But the gameplay is just so kind of pure, almost arcadey kind of score attack stuff, and it just the two go together with an excellent soundtrack that matches like the gameplay. It's that's all I'll say about it really. But it's
I was going to say let's keep just enough to whet the appetite.
Yeah, that's all I'll say about it. But it's. So I'm looking forward to talking about it and playing it again.
Yeah, it's available on pretty much everything in there.
I think so, yeah.
Xbox, Switch. I got the Switch version. It's on PC.
I've got a
Might be on
PS4
PlayStation.
physical. Yeah. So that's what we'll be doing next month.
Brilliant.
Okay. Right.
Okay.
Well, that about ties us all up in a neat little bow, I think. Would you like to do the stuff? Because I always do it, and it's your turn.
Not really, but I will. All right. No, so you can visit us at podemup.live.
Mm-hmm.
You can tweet us at podemup on twitter.com. You can email us podemup@gmail.com.
That's right.
I think that's it.
Yeah. One thing we never say is that we are open to like book club suggestions as well. If you've got a game that you'd
always,
like to hear us
yeah.
talk about, we often forget to say, but you're more than welcome to send us, tweet us, email us a suggestion of a game that you want us to play, and we'll at least consider it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, the whole show is about discovering, the new games and games we might not have tried, or games that we think deserve more attention, and that goes for games being suggested to us that we haven't thought of ourselves. So yeah, always open to ideas.
Yeah. Nothing too long, obviously, and nothing that's a PS3 exclusive because I don't have a PS3. But and other than that, go nuts. Yeah. Those are my two caveats.
Yeah, cool.
Right, I think that's about everything then. So, yes, this has been episode 31. I've been Ollie. He's been Tibbs. We're saying goodbye now. Goodbye.
Goodbye now.
Bye.